Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
And we give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Jet Manuel. And in tonight's game plan, we'll break down the key players for the Barangay Ginebra versus Phoenix do-or-die match ahead of the 2021 PBA Philippine Cup playoffs.
We'll also list down the keys to winning for Gilas Pilipinas women as they begin their campaign in the FIBA Women's Asia Cup. And we'll get to know more about Yamaha Motor Philippines' vision for the one and only Wonderboy McKinley Kyle Paz, as well as the future of motorsports in the country. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Now let's get ready to rumble, PBA fans, because we are fast approaching the 2021 Philippine Cup playoffs. Let's take a look at the playoff bracket here, and Jet. Look, there's one slot that is still unsure of. That's Ginebra and Phoenix. And grabe, if you're TNT, there's a chance you're going to face off against a team that was one game away from the finals last year or the defending champions. It's insane.
To say the least, this season has been crazy. And when you see the bracket, you see TNT, of course, the number one spot. But the other matchups are so exciting. San Miguel against Northport. That's going to be crazy. Magnolia, Rain or Shine, Meralco, and Lex. I think the teams there deserve to be there. But the one game that we're all just waiting to watch, Ginebra versus Phoenix for that number 8 spot. What do you say about that? Ginebra?
It's incredible. So that being said, let's break down the do-or-die match between Barangay Ginebra and Phoenix tomorrow. Joining us for our discussion is PBA Rush anchor Jet Sulit. Jet, we talked before the show that we're here to get Jet into trouble.
No.
So let's do that.
No.
General thoughts first going into Barangay Ginebra and
No,
the Phoenix Super LPG. Kasi grabe talaga, these two teams underachieving compared to last season. What's your first take going into this one?
You know what? It's really a flip, a twist of what happened last year. Like you guys said, these were teams one won in the finals. The other was one win away from the finals. And they were the 1 and 2 seeds, remember, after elimination round last year, sharing 8-3 records. And now they're trying to get a win in the playoff para lang makapasok in the quarterfinals. But, make no mistake, these two teams are still very potent. I felt like the moves that Phoenix made over the off-season, it really, made them better. Pero siguro right now, on paper pa lang, we also understand that the preparation coming into this Philippine Cup was different. Teams did not really get to practice a lot. So for a team like Phoenix na bago yung look, they were looking into their first few games of the tournament to treat that as the gelling of the team. But then in those games, some of them wala si Banquero. Some of them, Matthew Wright missed. And then later on, si Vic Manuel naman missed. So I feel like they haven't really been able to build that chemistry. And for Barangay Ginebra, it's unfortunate that injuries hit them when they were trying to make this never say die run towards the quarterfinals.
Well, so Jet, we saw the list of Jet here for his key players for Barangay Ginebra. Can you list them down and then let us know if you disagree or agree with that list that he has?
Well, he gave 3 key players: Stanley Pringle, Christian Sandhardinger, and L.A. Tenorio. Right off the bat, like Stanley and Christian, I think they're the two core players that are newest on the team.
Yeah.
I want to ask Jot, what do they need to do, or how are they so crucial, especially in this upcoming game?
I want to say first, Jet, that if they allowed me, I would have put your name in first.
Dan!
That's what I want to get out of the way first. But I think we've seen in the way Ginebra has played this conference, in the numbers, the statistics, just the number of shots that Pringle and Stan Hardinger took for Ginebra in the elimination round. They are very important pieces of this Ginebra squad. Maybe, I think even I was a little wondering how Coach Tim would infuse these two players into his system, but we know Coach Tim, he has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. But for these two, I think, they're so talented that they would be an asset to any team, to any system that is being run by that team. Now, it's a matter siguro of similar dun sa sinabi ko sa Phoenix, a matter of these guys knowing or understanding the system a little bit better, understanding how to play with each other. And for Christian Stan Hardinger, the burden is a little bit heavier now that Japet Aguilar will not be available, and he has not been over the last few games. And nakikita naman natin kung gaano ka bumigat yung workload for Christian because of that.
Yeah, you talked about workload, Jet, and actually that brings me up to the next point. Jet, we saw that these three specific players, took up a lot of minutes in their loss against Meralco. In fact, I think all of them averaged around 40 minutes apiece. Now, looking at that, since I know that babad ka usually, especially when you were in UP and in certain points in your professional career, how big of a factor was that? The fact that so much more is expected of them. They have to take up so much minutes in crucial situations like a must-win scenario for Barangay Ginebra.
Okay, so just talking about fatigue. I covered the game yesterday and I saw specifically Christian and Stanley were both like on their knees. The latter parts of all quarters, even the first quarter. They were explosive during the start, and then you could see they're just wearing down. And then you add to the fact that Scotty wasn't there, that Japet wasn't there, like Jot mentioned. I think it just compounded, and throughout the whole, this situation that we have, the semi-bubble situation, I think it just compounded to lead to the game that they had yesterday and their performance as of late. I think they're just tired.
Yeah.
They really look tired, they're playing tired, and it's just showing. And of course, when they lose, it's gonna add more fuel to the fire na maybe they're not the right pieces. Maybe they're not gelling in the system. So if you talk about, Jot, I want to ask the question that is probably on a lot of people's minds. At this point of both these players in Ginebra, can you say that they've fit or they've understood na they're in the system of Coach Tim Cohn, or they understand the system of Coach Tim and Ginebra as a whole?
I do believe in more than the talent that we mentioned earlier, in really the understanding of the game of these two legitimate bona fide superstars of our league, and who have also played in the national team, where sometimes coaches move every now and then, and you also have to adjust to different situations and leagues. I think they understand what they have to do. But chemistry, Jet, I know somehow you agree with me. Sometimes even if you understand, everyone in the team understands what needs to be done as individuals, as a unit. Yung chemistry, if it's not at that level yet, at that standard that's being required by the coach, by everyone in that team, hindi agad magre-reflect eh. And I know Ginebra understands where they want to be and where they need to be, especially for that game against Phoenix. But will they be able to get there in time for that knockout game is possibly the question.
You brought up getting there on time, and that actually brings me to the Phoenix key players, because we have Matthew Wright, Jason Perkins, and Justin Chua. Matthew Wright, in general, this particular conference doesn't look as lethal as he did last season. He's had stretches where he missed a lot of shots. Obviously, he still has that clutch gene. He's had a couple of game winners already. And when you look at Matthew Wright and the rest of the supporting cast, we mentioned Perkins and we mentioned Chua. What gives you hope for them, despite the fact that they haven't been firing at all cylinders this particular conference, Chad?
Pau and Jet, you look at the roster of Phoenix, this is a team that can really contend for the title roster-wise.
Yeah.
And again, they had some difficulty, I guess, in terms of availability of players due to injuries. But Matthew Wright, the ball is still going to go into his hands when they need a basket down the stretch, as we saw in that game against Rain or Shine, right? Where he went 0 for 14, but that last attempt, the 15th one, was the one that gave them the win.
Yeah.
And a lot of these players who showed up for Phoenix last year in the bubble, they really haven't been able to produce the same way. But I guess, we have to treat this kasi rin as a new conference. We want to expect, diba, that they can keep up that strong play. But say, for example, Justin Chua is another guy who really showed out in that bubble last year. And, he's a stretch big. He can hit the three for Phoenix, but from shooting 42% in the 2020 bubble, he's down to just 9% shooting, and
Yeah.
that kind of changes. And
Yeah.
the reason why I put him in that list on top of possibly siguro Chris Banquero would be, a bigger name perhaps, but with the recent report of Vic Manuel being unavailable tomorrow, then
You need
Justin
to,
might have to play a little bit more minutes and might have the responsibility of trying to match up against Christian Standhardinger.
You brought up a good point. And just for a moment here, Jet, I'm going to make Jet an analyst because we also have to talk about Perkins, because Perkins in general has had a great season. He's, in fact, that he looks like may konting angas na siya in his eyes. You can see
Ever
it when
since,
he plays it.
yeah.
I know ever since, but now this time around it feels a bit pronounced. What
Yeah.
do you have to make about his play and how important he's going to be against Ginebra?
Well, he's just coming to his own now. I think that he knows his role, he knows his identity. I think he's just really comfortable. I mean, he was playing great, but this conference in particular, I think it's just the confidence that he has now. I think Jot can agree with me. And he will be a big key because after Matthew, I think he's the one that really is capable of taking up that scoring role. When Matthew's not shooting well, it's Perkins for sure.
A lot to talk about concerning Barangay Ginebra and the Phoenix Super LPG Fuel Masters. Jut, thank you very much for joining us and helping us break this all down. We didn't really get Jet into trouble, but there's always next time.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, after the break, we'll list down the keys to winning for Gilas Pilipinas women as they enter the FIBA Women's Asia Cup. Stay tuned. You're watching the game.
And welcome back to the game. The anticipation rises as our Pinay ballers prepare to raise the flag in Amman, Jordan for the 2021 FIBA Women's Asia Cup. And to help us dissect the keys to winning for our national squad in the Asian tourney, we have SBP.PH writer Yo Sarmenta. Yo. Welcome back to the game.
That was terrible.
I
I'm so sorry, brother.
I love you.
Jet, I feel so welcome. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for that. But okay, initially, your thoughts on the squad we have now and the squad that we're sending to compete and represent the country. Just your initial thoughts on them.
Well, initial thoughts. This group will lean on its veteran experience. 8 players played in the 2019 Southeast Asian Games. A lot of them have been in other previous iterations of Gilas Pilipinas, and a right mix of young rookies, really to inject the youth and experience for the next stage of Gilas Pilipinas. And you see there the list. 8 players: Afril, Bernardina, Janine Ponteos. Janine is actually the captain of this squad.
Yeah.
And I was able to talk to her, and she really shared that how everything's gelling, everything's coming together. Even though it's kind of hard, they trained like 2 weeks in Batangas, and it's a limited time for such a big tournament. But everything's coming along.
Let's not beat around the bush here. It's going to be tough for this Gilas women's team to come up with surprise results, especially when you're going up against really the giants of women's basketball here in Asia. And you did list keys to winning, perhaps to be able to pull off an upset against these teams. Let's start off first with the utilization of speed, because that will be a big factor, as well as the outside shooting as well.
Yeah, alam naman natin tayo mga Pilipino, we're not that great in the height department. So for us, it's the speed. And when I talked to Coach Patrick Aquino, and one of the things they did initially when they got to Batangas was take a lot of outside shots and transition shots. And really, the reason for that is conditioning-wise, to get their feet under them. We're almost forgetting that 2 years ago was the last time they played.
Yeah.
So conditioning is key. And Camille Clarin, the rookie of the team, shared that when she was in quarantine for the bubble, she had a stationary bike in her room, just to really get that legs under them. So that's really important. The speed, it goes hand in hand with the outside shooting. We have some great shooters, Janine Pontejos and Kate Castillo, who really shot the lights out during the 2019 FIBA Asia Cup. So those two, speed and shooting, should go work hand in hand together. Just to be able to compete with, Australia is ranked first in Asia and third in the world. So we really need those.
And then you pointed out a third. So of course now we know we need speed and shooting on the court. But off the court, you mentioned team chemistry. Why did you choose to mention that?
In any team, as you know, Jet, the team chemistry is key. And I mentioned earlier that the right mix of veterans and young players. And I think that's evident when I thought about this last bit about team chemistry. I don't know if you guys saw Camille Clarin's TikTok recently.
Oh, yeah.
You guys saw that, yeah. And I think that's the right amount of chemistry of any team, but specifically for a basketball team going to compete against the world's best. If you guys haven't watched that, in that clip, Camille just spanned the whole team. And whenever you get Andrea Tonko doing a cartwheel, I think you're doing a pretty good job of, saying team chemistry. But what I'm saying is that right injection of youthful exuberance, you need that in any situation. And for this team specifically, they need that fresh eyes, so to speak, that wide-eyed rookie mentality against the best in the world.
Yeah, it's funny because we have a glimpse of that because of TikTok, and I don't think any of us here on this call, on the show right now, has a TikTok. Do you, Jeff?
I don't have a TikTok.
You don't have a TikTok? Ikaw, yo, do you TikTok?
Nope.
No, you don't take. All right. Just
For
making
our team
sure.
chemistry,
Kailangan natin ng TikTok, pare.
with Paolo cartwheeling.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Anyway, so let's talk about the expectations here because, again, look, our first opponent is against China on Monday, and just the thought of that's already a tough task. What can the fans expect from our Gilas women's team when they go up against them? Again, just to remind everyone, we only have one legit big in Claire Castro, and everyone else is either a shooter or very fast. What can we expect, yo?
What I think about, when the list came out again, that the Philippines were going to face Australia and China, two opponents that we faced back in the 2019 FIBA Asia Cup. I think about the recent one, the Tokyo Olympics, when Philippines didn't compete. But in that tournament, I saw Japan versus Team USA. We know about Team USA, Diana Taurasi, Subert, and all that. Japan, with an average height of 5'9", went toe-to-toe with the Team USA in the group phase and in the gold medal match. And in the group phase, I think I saw a blueprint of how at least to actively compete against a team that's daunting in size. And what Japan did in that game, they shut the lights out. They spaced the floor, used their speed, relied on their outside shooting, and you know what? They were able to compete not just in the first half, but really throughout the game. They even took the lead in the first quarter. So taking that as a blueprint, I think that for us as Filipinos, as the Gilas Filipinas women take on the Asian powerhouses, so it's going back to the outside shooting and speed. And you know what? They can shoot. Kate Castillo, I've been talking about her. She shot 11 over 22 overall in the FIBA Asia Women's Cup. So she shot 50% in the last tournament. So she can shoot. So that's what we need to do.
That's Jet well numbers.
I wish I could.
Oo, pero from the free throw line. Yo, salamat. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, yo.
Hopefully that blueprint does come true, or hopefully Coach Patakino may have a better one to really upset the Giants of Asia. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right, when we return, we'll know more about the journey of Pinoy Wonderboy Makindi Calpaz to the Moto2 European Championship with the help of Yamaha Motor Philippines. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back to the game. I'm Paulo Del Rosario. In the world of motorsports, it takes a village to raise a world champion. For Pinoy Wonderboy McKinley Kyle Paz, his dream of racing against the world's best riders began with Yamaha. The game caught up with Yamaha Motor Philippines' Tony Acuesta to talk about their journey with Kyle, as well as their plans for motorsports in the Philippines.
All right, thank you very much to Mr. Tony Acuesta for joining us here today. He's the Yamaha Marketing Assistant Section Manager to tell us more about Yamaha and, of course, motorsports in the country. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm good, and of course excited to share to everybody what Yamaha Racing is all about.
Yeah, you know what, you bring it up, Yamaha Racing, and obviously when you think of Yamaha, you think of the brand. Everyone knows when you think of motorsports, they're very much involved already. We've seen it a lot with Kyle Paz. We've seen a bit of Carlo Paalam, our Olympic boxer, already getting his hands into it. Could you tell us a bit more, though, about Yamaha and motorsports and just why motorsports is important to Yamaha in general?
All right, thanks, Paolo. You know what? As you mentioned, Carlo, Paalam, and of course Kyle, both of them have the great similarity, which it talks about the passion, and that's what makes this motorsport important to Yamaha. And you know, racing has always been the purest representation of our dedication, and again, it's all about passion, not just about just riding, but it talks about a great passion of every rider, and it's the pursuit for greatness, and that what we want to instill to all aspiring riders. And we want every Filipino to know that it is their desire to get the highest level of racing, and that's where Yamaha will go in, and that's Yamaha will be there as a great avenue for them to reach their goal. In Yamaha, we've been doing this for the past 10 years, looking for the best riders. That's why we got Kyle already. And for us, the main goal here is, of course, for us to be the first ever Filipino to step in the world's biggest racing sports, which is of course the MotoGP. And right now we are in the middle. We are in the middle of working in it. And again, yeah, there are many riders, but the question is, who are those ready? And to get to the highest level of the competition, which is the MotoGP, and also be the best version of themselves. And it's not just about talking about us, talking about what we can support, but it talks about the riders, how we can support their dreams to be in this prestige racing competition. And again, it's not just about championship, it's about having a champion that others can inspire to be. And that's what we've seen to Kyle. He can inspire a lot of people.
He needed a lot of help to get there, and sinabi nga niya dati when we did talk to him that he had to attend a certain camps to get used to actually racing in circuits, because it's one thing to be an enthusiast, it's another thing to actually invest in it and actually do the things that needs to be done to be good. And he actually attended one, I think it was a master camp from Yamaha. Can you tell us a bit more about that, the skills that he needed to learn to reach that pro level?
Yeah, you know, hearing the word PR40 Master Camp, it gives you goosebumps, because it's one of the biggest camp right now in the world. We're talking about not just locally, but of course in the world. And if you are just chosen to be part of this VR46 Master Camp, it means to say that, you know, they see great potential in me. And I think what we see locally in Kyle, that's what VR46 is seeing to Kyle. His great potential. And their goal for the cup is, you know, to unlock the said potential. Yeah, you may have the skills really, but the thing is how you'll be able to unlock that great potential that you have in you. And of course, this VR46 Master Camp was created by the legend Valentino Rossi to develop young and of course promising riders.
So obviously the plan does not end with Kyle. When you think of the future of Philippine motorsports, I'm sure Yamaha's already thought about it and has invested in it and is looking forward to what's next as well. Can you tell us a bit more about the plans to get Filipino motor enthusiasts excited about the future?
The high priority is the safety of everyone, but we keep our promise to continuously create racing, even it's going to be an online, it's going to be an offline. But what's the good thing about right now is we still keep up our international races. We still have the FIMCEV Moto2, wherein Kyle is there representing Yamaha and of course the entire Philippines as well. And we still have the Asia Road Racing Championship, and that's something to be confirmed to push through within the year as well. And once the racetrack will open locally, of course, we're very much open as well to support our local riders, to open that doors and to let our riders, shine their full potential when it comes to racing. Once everything will be fine, then we will find a way for them to get back. And we can all inspire a lot of Filipinos that racing is one of the best experience that it could be. I think it's just like a basketball. Not everyone are a player, but it can inspire people. Same with motorsports. Not everyone is a rider, but this can inspire people to be one. So that's one great thing about motorsports and Yamaha.
Absolutely. Well, you hit the nail on the head there talking about safety. I'm sure you're going to talk about the safety of the riders on the track, and we're talking about the safety of everyone off the track as well, especially during this difficult time. Thank you very much. That was Tony Acuesta, Yamaha Marketing Assistant Section Manager. Tell us more about Yamaha and motorsports here in the Philippines. We are probably going to hear a lot more from you in the coming weeks. So please stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you very much for sharing everything that you had to hear on the game.
Those are our friends from Yamaha Motorsports Philippines telling us all about motorsports and really how to get into it and the growth of McKinley Kyle Paz. And right now, just give you a quick update on what's happening with the Philippine Malditas in their quest to make it to the AFC Asian Women's Asia Cup. Then it is now the 70th minute, tied ball game at 1 goal apiece. It was Tanay Anis who scored in the 17th minute for the Philippines, and the Hong Kong team captain drew it up in a free kick in the 61st minute. We'll have more of that, hopefully, maybe in the next few minutes, but we'll see whether or not that does happen. But you know what, Jet, great to hear from Yamaha. Great to hear from Jut and Yo today, and it's been incredible that there's so much sports going on, and it's still a lot more to watch out for in the next coming days.
I was gonna say, I actually love this episode. Aside from the PBA and everything, it's a lot to look forward to for women's sports right now. So I mean, we all just wish them the best, and we hope that it just keeps growing and growing. So thank you, everybody. Keep supporting our national athletes, and thank you for watching and joining us. I'm Jet Manuel.
Catch us weeknights here on One News, One Sports, and One Sports Plus. I'm Paulo De Rosario, and this has been The Game.